Today's recipe is going to be poğaça. Poğaça is amazing and it's very simple, and I'm gonna make two versions. The first one will be the plain and simple one. The second one is going to be with spring onions, halloumi cheese and dill. And now I'm gonna get my fresh spring onions from my small garden around the apartment. I'm not gonna use all of it, I'm just gonna use some green parts, some leaves like this. And as you can see, this was an old onion which grew inside. What I did is plant it like this so that the new ones come up. So let's go. Okay, poğaça is one of the best pastries in Turkey. Everyone loves it. You can make it plain. You can make it with a filling like cheese, like minced meat, potato, olives. Instead of a filling, you can have like some other things around it. It's actually oily, buttery pastry, but it's very nice. It's a Turkish classic. Today what I'm gonna do is actually, my mom never baked poğaça for me because she thought it was very high in calorie and lots of butter gets in, etc, etc. So, as a tribute to that, I have made another poğaça, which is a more olive oil based and a lighter one. So today, to the whole world, I want to introduce the poğaça in a light but as tasty Refika version. Here I have 500 grams of flour. To that, I'm going to add 90 milliliters, less than half a cup of olive oil. Our olive oil is very light, actually smells like almond, smells like green grass. It's an amazing one. If yours are a bit heavy, you can use seed oils, something light oil that you love the taste. To that, I'm also gonna add 350 grams of labneh. You can use 250 grams of yogurt instead. Normally I make it with yogurt, but because around the world maybe it would be harder, so I chose labneh cheese. It could be both, or it could be like a Philadelphia cheese. I'm gonna add a pinch of sugar and a teaspoon of salt and baking powder. A pack which is about 10 grams of baking powder. These are easy things that you can find everywhere. And here I have something called mahaleb, cherry seed kind of thing, but it has this weird smell. Its English is mahaleb cherry. I'm gonna have like a half a teaspoon of these seeds. These are very small. You can buy them cracked as well, but usually the cracked ones goes bad really fast. So in the older days, people were using mahaleb much more, but unfortunately now the stores you go around will not have mahaleb. So as I said, like if you don't have mahaleb, you can still make the recipe, but if you have mahaleb around, this creates a great dimension. Now I'm gonna knead this until it becomes very smooth.
Are you eating the dough?
Yes. But because it's labneh, it's great olive oil. By the way, if you haven't had access to a great olive oil, I have an Etsy store. If you go to Refika'dan, you'll find great olive oil. We don't have it, but I'm gonna try to put mahaleb as well so that you can make this gorgeousness here. The oil works as a shortening, which is like, you know, the gluten like is one long thing, but because when it's very oily like this, when you do this, it's layers and layers, but it falls apart. This is what we want. I'm gonna put this on the side for a while, for it to rest. There are gonna be two types of poğaça. The first one will be the classic one. For the classic one, we have white cheese. In Turkey, we call this beyaz peynir. You can find it around the world as feta. But if you go to your shop and ask for Turkish matured white cheese or Turkish feta, I don't know, they might write it. This is a great tasting one. There's machine matured and more natural one like this. The higher the price, the better the taste. You can use any kind of actually cheese, whatever you have at home, you can use it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the egg white inside the cheese, and I need the yellow for a better color. The egg yolk is here for the top, it's gonna wait for a while. I'm gonna use the egg whites for the inside, and to this I'm gonna add a bit of parsley. This goes in here. You can add some currants in here, but plain is also very good. The first filling is done. This is white cheese, egg white, and some parsley. So the second one, I'm not gonna use it as a filling, but I'm going to mix the flour with it. So for that, I need 1/3 of the halloumi. I have the Cypriot halloumi. You can use white cheese, you can use any kind of cheese, but halloumi is better because it doesn't melt easily. So you can get big chunks like this.
So they can choose the cheese they prefer, but it shouldn't be a melting cheese.
Yeah, a cheese that easily melts, you're gonna lose some of the cheese while it's cooking. And I have, you can count this as 1 spring onion. Greener parts are better. And then some dill. Dill and cheese, they really go great together. So this is ready. So a bit of black pepper. I don't need any more salt. But if you want it a bit of hot, I'm gonna have a pinch of red pepper as well. It will give like small red dots to it as well. It's gonna be nice. So the filling, the second one is ready. Now I can move on to making my poğaças. Here I have my dough. I'm gonna make around 12 of them. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to cut it in half and then cut it into 1/3 and half. Now I have 6 pieces here. I'm gonna make the rest 6 pieces. What you can do is, for example, like measure it in your hands and take, for example, this is the biggest one and this is the smallest one. Take a pinch of big one and add it to the small one and feed it with your hands again. So if they're equal, all done. If they're not, you can add still a bit more. I'm gonna divide all of them. I'm dyslexic and cutting in things in equal is a hard thing that I do, so, but anyways, I have tried. You can always use a scale, but if it's a smaller one, it will be a crunchier one. It's all good. And what I'm gonna do is roll it with my hand into small spheres like this. First we start by pressing the hand thoroughly and then removing the pressure a bit and then just using the sides of my hands and it becomes this perfect round ball. Now the fun part starts. I'm gonna press one with my hands like this because it's quite oily dough. It's easy to do. And then add some cheese inside. Not too much. This is enough. Press the sides like this and all done. Simple and beautiful.
This is like the empanadillas of Spain,
Yes?
but their dough is a bit sweeter. The filling, they mostly use onions and things like that.
Now, I also want to show you another way of folding. We made it like this. This was same, but sometimes the poğaça doesn't stick. To make it sure, one thing you can do is just like fold it with your hand, like one by one, and pinch it. Fold it and pinch it, fold it and pinch it, fold it and pinch it like this. This becomes a decorative way, but today I don't want it to make it decorative, but I just want to use that technique to seal it even better. And then I want to make it round again, because this time I wanted to make it as a great looking simple poğaça. And as Burak wanted to tell something from the beginning is there are different types of poğaças.
This one is a simple one and easiest and one of the most delicious ones. But they can be with yeast and you make them proof. And maybe if you like it very much, we can make that ones as well.
Which means if you like it, press like. Thank you. Okay, we have poğaças more closer to more fatty with a lot of layers and no yogurt, etc. But just wet the dough with just butter and it's like layers and layers. It's also good, but it's really much more calories. But in time, I'm gonna try to make all the variations. We have the other mixture, but from the first mixture, this much of cheese was left out. Normally you don't see things like this in these videos, but because I don't want it to be ruined because it has egg whites as well, I'm gonna add it to this mixture. It's perfectly okay. So some white cheese also gets into the mixture and that's all. Take one bowl, put it inside like this and get its share and then put it onto my counter and mix it well like this. You can make it into any kind of shape you like. Finally, before it goes to the oven, for the color, I'm gonna put some water to the egg and mix it. This way, when the egg is just by itself, it changes the color very fast, very much. So with the water, dilute it, and so that you make sure that all the egg is enough for 12 of those, and the color is more balanced. So egg wash, else than the looks, it also gives a very nice taste. So even to the sides, I'm trying to brush it. Actually, 30 minutes didn't work. 35 did. These have to wait. I'm gonna put them into a rack. Look at this. Simple and delicious. I made a mistake. In some part it was thin. This cracked from here. So another thing, when you're opening, just like don't press hard on some places. The folding that I have shown you, if you don't do it, the melting becomes something like this. Two of them, we left it this way. In Turkey, poğaças are like that, and it's also nice. Now we put it on the rack for it to cool down. Otherwise, it will be very mushy inside. And I want to show you immediately. Not so much now. These parts, as you can see, it might be a bit soggy. Like if we waited for like 10 to 15 minutes, these will be crunchy, they will fall apart. So that's it. No, when it's very hot, it's also nice. These will cool down, and as the whole crew, we're gonna eat it with tea. And a lot of sohbet. Sohbet is sharing, sohbet is listening, it's muhabbet, a lot of things. I hope you liked the video. If you have liked it, please show it to us. That's how the word spreads. Take care.